The phrase "a born fighter" has a whole new meaning when you're in a surgical ward and the person doing the fighting hasn't even been born. Yet he wants to live. It happened recently with little Lincoln, who struggled to stay alive after being separated from his twin in his mother's womb. It's a story of joy and terror and miracles. With each tiny breath, Lincoln Ryman is defying the odds.
We feel like we're the luckiest parents in the world.
Delivered 2.5 months premature, weighing just 530 grams, this baby was virtually given no chance of survival. But it wasn't his early arrival into the world that had the medical profession convinced he would die, but rather a condition he shared with his identical brother, Byron.
It's devastating, like, you can't help them, so you feel helpless.
For years, Nicole and Todd Ryman had been trying to have a baby. Last year, they turned to IVF and finally became pregnant with twins. But 15 weeks in, Nicole was told her babies had a condition, twin-to-twin transfusion syndrome, which affects 1 in 2,500 pregnancies in Australia.
The effect of that is that one baby, if you like, is slowly bleeding to death into the other twin, whereas the twin that we call the recipient has too much blood.
In both cases, potentially lethal. In a bid to save the stronger twin, obstetrician and head of Sydney's Royal Women's Fetal Medicine Unit, Dr. Danny Chalice, performed placenta laser surgery.
We identify the blood vessels that are going between the babies causing the problem. What we then do is find those blood vessels, and with a laser at about 50 watts of power, we coagulate, if you like, spot weld those blood vessels to stop the blood flow between the two babies and hopefully separate their circulations and solve the problem.
But the problems didn't stop there. Lincoln had less than 20% of his placenta, which carries all the functions of a baby's lungs, liver and kidneys.
I thought that it was possible that she would get one surviving baby, but once we had a look at the anatomy of the placenta, I thought it was unlikely at that stage that she would take home 2 babies.
Fully aware the odds were stacked against them, the Rymans prepared for the worst.
The worst was having to, if he didn't make it, to have Byron and know that they should have looked exactly the same and that there should be another one here.
At 29 weeks, their little fighter had given up. Lincoln was about to die. While doctors suggested the pregnancy continue for Byron's sake, Nicole and Todd decided to risk it all, knowing this was their only chance of saving Lincoln.
They didn't hesitate to make the decision that they wanted to go for both babies.
Their birth made headlines around the world. The tiny miracle and his identical twin.
In my life now.
I think for us, even though we've gone through so much, we consider ourselves extremely lucky. We know there's a lot of parents out there that don't get to have what we've got.
It's been touch and go for the past 10 weeks, but last week, Lincoln reached 1 kilo, almost doubling his birth weight. Byron, on the other hand, is a healthy 2.7 kilos and now at home, waiting for his little brother.
We do know that babies that are very growth restricted at delivery, may have problems later down the track, but he's made it this far, and I have every expectation he'll be fine.
It was fantastic to take Byron home, but it had that tinge of sadness about it in that we were leaving Lincoln here. So the day that we can actually take them both home, that'll just be, I think, the greatest day of both of our lives, to know that we've got our boys home safe.
And we'll let you know how they're getting on. In a moment, an exclusive backstage tour.
Hello, we're the Wiggles. We like to say hello.
How long can they deny they're both in love with someone else?
But next, that will be the least of their worries.
Kim.
Home and Away at 7.